I'm Briscoe Diggs, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk. Today I have with us a special guest. I know I say that a lot, but this young man is a special guest. He is one of the funniest people I've ever met. He's a great actor. He's a stand-up comedian. He's a producer. He's an all-around great guy. And I met him as one of my Glee kids. We'll explain that. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Tart. Thank you so much, Carl.
Briscoe, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Wow, I like all your sneakers, man.
Yeah, I got a couple pairs back there.
That's good. Yeah, I'm a shoe fanatic as well, so I'm building up my closet. It's gonna look like, it's not gonna look as good as yours, but that looks good. What size shoe you wear, man? Don't let nobody know.
13, 14.
Yeah, too big, y'all can't fit that.
Yeah.
Listen, oh wow, I have a pair of you might be able to fit them. I've had them for years. They're Master P's Sergeant shoes. They have like a Sergeant decal on it.
Mm-hmm.
Got them in the 90s and they've never been worn. And they're just sitting there they're like a size 13 or whatever. They're just sitting there because they're Master P's shoes. And somebody gave them to me. Those
might be worth the money now. You got.
I know, yeah, right. That's what my roommate. She's like, look, you got all these things. Go on eBay. So I'm gonna try to do that. But let's get back to Carl. Welcome to Real Talk, Carl. Thank you for being here. So let's not have your phone go off while you want to do an interview. It's 11:11. Make a wish. Okay, I wish.
Make a wish.
Okay. All right. So let's tell the audience a little bit about you. Where are you from originally? And
originally I'm from Mississippi. I was born in Mississippi, and I moved to LA when I was about 8 years old.
Nice.
And
nice.
So I grew up here basically.
So LA is your home, basically, what you would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Mississippi to death. I go back every year. I moved back at one point, but then was forced to move back to LA after Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
And then but yeah, Mississippi's always gonna be home, but LA is also home. I'm really blessed to have two homes. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel that way as well. I feel like I think about three homes. I'm from New York originally, and then my parents moved to Maryland at one point, and then we moved to LA. I mean, not LA, the Bay Area. So I consider all three of them my home. We lived in Indiana for a while, but I had some really good friends from there. But that it wasn't a great.
That's how I am with Las Vegas. My mom moved to Las Vegas, and I was there for about a year. Mm-hmm. I don't call Las Vegas home at all.
Yeah.
I got a couple cool homies there, but I don't call Vegas home.
yeah. It's just a place you live for a little bit. That's how I feel too. So let me ask you, because I know a little bit about it, but how did you decided to get into this business? Was it something you've always wanted to do, or was it something you fell into?
You know what? It's interesting because I didn't want to do it. So we moved out here from Mississippi because my mom wanted to do it. And she worked quite a bit back in the 90s and stuff like that, back when Black television was a lot more abundant than it is now, and that it has been over the years. But we was on that grind, I saw that struggle, I saw that that tough grind that it takes, and it kind of warded me away from the business. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put myself through that. I'm just gonna get a job and do what I'm gonna do. And then I went to college, and I was in college, and I got cut from the team. And trying to go back into that was a daunting process. And I was like, I'm done, man. I think I'm done. And I also didn't like school, so I was kind of like, if I'm not playing on a team, I'm not trying to stay in school.
Right.
And my mom was like, well, you're not just gonna be sitting around doing nothing. You got to get a job and figure out something else. So that's when I started doing improv class. I started doing background back when we first met. And at the same time, simultaneously, I was doing improv classes as well. And so we were right there at Paramount, and my improv school was right up on Hollywood Boulevard. So, and I didn't have a car back then. So I would literally walk from Paramount up to Hollywood Boulevard, or somebody would be gracious enough to give me a ride or something like that. And I would go up there and just kind of, put in the work and put in the hours and grind it out, doing improv and stuff after we had been at work all day,
Right.
So that was kind of how I got back into it, and kind of realized it's kind of in my blood. My grandma came out here in the 70s to do it. She eventually came back home, but then my mom did it. And then I was like, I think it's just it's the family business.
Right.
It's kind of what I'm supposed to be doing. So
yeah, tell me a little bit, because you glossed over it a little bit, but I know. Tell me about your grandmother. She was on the Flip Wilson show at one point.
Yeah, my grandmother was a dancer on the Flip Wilson show in the 70s.
That is,
and but she had a short stint out here. She ended up going back home to Mississippi but she came out here in the mid 70s and probably stayed for a couple of years and then
wow.
ended up going back. But my mom always had the dream, and then she came out here and she, you know, accomplished her dreams too. And she was able to get some work, and she's still out here. She's still doing it.
Great.
And yeah, so
me and your
it was
mom
kind of like I told you so. What'd you say?
I said, me and your mom probably the same age.
Yeah, around there.
Don't say her age though. Don't say your mother gonna be mad.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
That's why I consider all of y'all my kids. You know, I don't have any kids, so when I first came out here and I got to meet all of y'all, you know, not every one of y'all, but there's certain ones and all that I just, you know, just like I love y'all, kid. And so it was like I was able to have that parental feeling in my little, even though, you know, y'all probably didn't realize it, but that's what I was feeling. It was like, y'all are some amazing young people. And I could see certain people in the group that were hardworking people. I could always tell. It was like, you know, when you have a dream, you got to work, and sometimes you have to sacrifice. And for you to be able to, you work it all damn day on those long sets, those long hours, and then going on to improv. That you were meant to be successful because you worked your butt. You were working your butt off. You weren't. Oh, I can't walk. I can't. No excuses. There's no excuses. You got to do it. You know, if you really want to do this. And like you said, it's in your DNA. Same with me. You know, it's in my DNA, and I couldn't deny it. I had to go for it. So I'm pretty lucky. I haven't had any speaking roles yet, but I'm not gonna sit around waiting. I'm going to, you know, create my own show, do something. You know what I mean? It's like you have to grind somehow, whatever. And
absolutely. And you're doing it with this. Your dad was a entertainer, right? Yeah,
he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Actually, I always make a joke about my father's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but the father Hall of Shame because he wasn't. He had a lot of kids. He had a lot of kids, but he died when he was 36. So he was in a group called Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. It was a song called Why the Fools Fall in Love. My father was the vocal arranger, the musical arranger, and the founding member of the group. So I got that in my DNA. And I thank him every day. It's like, thank God, you know, my dad, Al Diggs, he's a great dad, but he has no rhythm. But he would listen to music all the time. And when my father's music would play, my dad would never turn it off. You know, he would just let it. He didn't, you know, that was, you know, my biological father, and he was raising me as a kid, but he did not deny who I was. And that was one thing that was great. You know, I had a great dad. I love you, Dad. And my other father, you know, he wasn't there for me. I can't really judge him. He died, you know, but yet he gave me my great DNA. And that's one thing, you know, with you, it's like, I'm sure it's second nature kind of, even though we have to work hard at it, it's just something that's just there, you know?
Yeah. I think that's what kind of really drew me to it. I had, tried my hand at basketball and football and baseball, all that type of stuff. And I loved all that stuff. And I was pretty, you know, decently good at it. And I was able to go to college playing the sport, but like, you know, comedy was always a thing that had kind of been there, you know, and once I started doing it, stuff started to work out fairly quickly. And that's when I knew, I was like, okay, this must be what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right. It's so true.
Yeah.
So when you started to do background work, how long did you do background work until you started to make strides in your field? Because it seemed like you move pretty fast. It might, to other people on the outside, it might seem like that.
Well, I used to do background work as a kid too, but that was different.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah. But then when I came back to it, that's what I was asking my mom. I was like, well, what can I do for like quick work? And she was like, why don't you go do some background work like you used to? I was like, oh yeah. And I signed up for Central Casting. It was not the same as it was when I was a kid. They treat you like crap as an adult sometimes. But I started in like 2009 and in early 2009.
That's when we met.
Then that's when we met. And then by 2012, I was too busy doing other stuff to do it anymore. So
I love that.
That was pretty cool. Like I got put in this CBS diversity showcase which
Yes.
was like, yeah.
Sorry.
And what's funny is Amber Riley came to that show
Oh, you kidding?
and saw me, and I was like, I went up to her to introduce myself and was like, hey, I've been doing. And she's like, I know who you are.
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
not
yeah.
know you was. I didn't know you was funny like that.
Yeah, she's
I
a
didn't know you.
sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody
So,
knows you're that funny. You are hilarious. I swear to God. I'm not just saying it because you're my friend. I swear, you crack me up, and I just like this man is gonna go far. I just felt it. Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate that. But yeah, it was around that time. So about 3-4 years I was doing background, and then there came a point where I had to I couldn't have my days taken up by that anymore because I had to audition. After I did that show, auditioning kind of came like I was 2-3 times a week, sometime 4 times a week right after, and then after that stuff just kind of started to roll, and I had to get other jobs. I didn't like immediately support myself off of working, but that's when I had to go into like the bar business and work at night and stuff like that.
Right.
So I could have my days free to audition, and in case I booked it, something that was flexible enough in case I booked a job that I was able to get out of.
Yeah, I stopped for a bit because I started to do the show. It's like 5 years. The show started about 5 years ago, and I stopped and came back. But I noticed that I've been auditioning a lot. I have a really good agent now, and I'm auditioning a lot. But I noticed that I'll be on the background, doing a background on the show, and I'm auditioning at the same time. And they're like, so I don't know how this is going to work because I audition for 911 a lot, but I'm on that show as a back. I work at the call center, so I'm working there all the time. But I go and audition. And Ryan Murphy, Ryan Murphy knows who I am. I work on every one of his shows and worked on Glee for 5 years. So I'm getting in the room now, which is good. But it's interesting how this business works. I like it. How do you feel about the audition process now? Are you still like setting in on tapes and stuff instead of being in the room? How do you feel about that?
I still got to audition. I still am definitely. I'm not offer only yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully after the first season of this show, I get some offers only. But I am still in the room. I'm still going in. Well, not going in right now. It's all taped right now. I hate tapes.
Yeah. So you like your tape better?
I hate self-tapes. No, I hate self-tapes.
Ask you.
I hate self-tapes because I feel like I can show my personality a little bit more when I go in the room. So even if I'm not like word perfect or I don't have the character down on camera, that shows up a lot more than it does when I'm in the room and I'm talking to the people and they see me and they know me and they go, oh yeah, we know Carl, we know what he's capable of, we know what he does. So I haven't booked anything from a self-tape. Well, I have, but it was kind of like a formality self-tape.
Right.
So it wasn't an offer only, but it was hey, we still need a tape from him, but we like him.
Right. Yeah. It's so interesting. I try to sneak in a little bit of personality, like in my slate or something like. But you know who I am. I'm animated, and I know how to play a character. Even though like my sister made a joke one day. She goes, "Can you play straight?" I'm like, I'm an actor. What's wrong? But in the room, it's different when you, like you said, you show your personality. On the self tapes, it's just like I'm doing this scene, and you're not seeing anything else that you might lend to the character or lend to the fact that I didn't see that. So yeah, it is kind of weird. I used to remember though going to auditions and seeing the same dudes. Like, what you here for, black guy? Me too. We all here. So we kind of like get like a camaraderie together. We're like, if you don't get it, if I don't get it, I hope you get it. But I hope I get it. But if I don't, that kind of thing. We all rooting for each other in a way. It's competition and rooting for each other. Right. That's still the same way. I got my audition friends. I always talk about like Kevin Miles, who's Jake from State Farm. Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah. We've never hung out outside of auditions, but like we know each other and we're like friends. Like so.
Yeah, he reminds me of my late cousin. I actually every time I see the commercial, I think of my late cousin. It's so weird how people can relate. But it's so you mentioned it a little bit. So you have a new show coming out. I seen the billboard.
Yeah, it's called Grand Crew. It's on NBC. The first episode dropped a couple weeks ago, and it's on Tuesday nights right now. It's on right now.
I didn't even. Okay, I gotta watch it. I do my research now.
Yeah, you can check it out on Hulu or Peacock if you got those right now.
I got them both.
the third episode airs on January 4th
That's amazing.
On NBC
Now,
at 8
now
o'clock.
if you need like a background that's be like, hey, no, just
You know what? I was very surprised that we didn't see you on there.
yeah. I don't know. I've been on a couple of shows, like stuck on some shows lately. So yeah, I was on the movie with the TV show with The Weeknd.
Yeah, okay.
Called The Idol. So I've been on that for a while, and then on 911, and then I'm working on the Black Lady comedy show, standing up for Tommy Davidson, which was
nice.
we always be like, y'all look alike. We're like, we don't look alike. What we kind of do. But yeah, so yeah, one day I'll be up on the show.
There was a couple of our old friends that showed up this season.
Nice.
It was really cool. Really cool to see them there. They were like, remember Zacchaeus?
Oh, for real? Of course I remember Zacchaeus. Absolutely. Yeah. I haven't seen him in years though.
Yeah, that was the first time I had seen him. I was like, oh, what's up, man? Yeah. And it was dope. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll be auditioning for your show. Watch.
Please do. Yeah.
I would love it.
And let me know when you do too, because that's how this business works. It's all about who you know.
yeah, for real. And I think it's the odds. You know, the odds are better when you audition. The more you audition, it's like an odds game. Of course, you do 100 auditions. One of them is going to hit eventually.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize auditioning is a skill. Like
it really is.
Some people are good auditioners. Some people, like for example, me, I've never booked a commercial off a commercial audition.
Wow.
I've been on a veil 50 times and never booked. Right. Never got over that hump. So at a certain point, I just stopped. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, right. I was booking, co-stars and guest stars before I was booking commercials. Wow. And sometimes you don't even talk commercials. And so I was just like, I'm done with the commercial. I'm not like nobody's checking for me in the commercials.
Right. But you got your show now, so things happen the way it's supposed to. I'm so glad it's like seeing Black people on TV more, because like you mentioned earlier, the 90s was we had like, we were like a cornucopia of great stuff. I mean, of course it's dated, but you know what? It saved my life because I was diagnosed with HIV in the 90s, 1994. So I was like, my life is done. But yeah, I was seeing all these Black people, Moesha, and I'm seeing Shirley Ralph, who is my ex-boyfriend's first cousin. So I'm like, Cheryl, she's like, I had a guidance of a place to look. You know what I mean? A place to escape.
Yeah.
And that was what the 90s, that's what that Black TV did for me. Jamie Foxx, Living Color, all of it. It was just like, Living Color was done by, I think it might have been done by then, but it was still funny. I used to go back and look at all the repeats and stuff. But so now we got your show coming. I mean, I am so happy for you. I cannot wait to see what the rest of the future is. And also, I know you also write as well. I know you did you do some for Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah, I was a writer on Brooklyn Nine-Nine for a season. I was a writer on Kenan, the Kenan Thompson show for a season. I was a writer on, some other shows. I wrote on Mad TV for a while. Right. That was my first like long-term job. Yeah, like after, because acting, if you don't book a series regular, which that's the hardest thing to do, like, you're just doing, even if you're, getting speaking roles, those come a dime a dozen. I mean, like, those come few and far in between. The opposite of a dime. I don't know why.
I know what you
mean. Like those are far in between. So I still was having, even though like 3 lines on Lethal Weapon or something like that, I gotta leave set and go. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Can you see me?
I see.
I got a call. I'm leaving set and going to work at the bar, like work as a bouncer. Mm-hmm. And then what writing offered me was some stability. Mm-hmm. So I'm taken away from acting at that point, but I'm still flexing my creative juices, still being able to, make people laugh through somebody else's mouth, but through my words. And so that still offered me that same, I look at acting and writing as equal playing for me. Acting is much easier. Right. I mean, the capacity of acting that I'm doing, I'm not making The Revenant, but
funny as
sitcom. Yeah, thank you. But sitcom acting is so much easier for me than writing, because writing is like school. Remember I said I don't like school, and writing is like you waking up every morning, you got your backpack, and you go into class, and you got to sit there all day, and you got to do work all day. It's work.
Wow.
And so, but I also when you sit at that table read, or when you watch that episode and you see your joke and you see somebody who you admire saying your joke and
Right.
you know everybody goes crazy over it, you're like, I still feel you know ownership of that, you know.
Right.
So it's pretty equal for me. I like, even though right now we're waiting to hear if we get a second season, but
Hmm.
in the interim, I might jump in the writers room
Right. Right.
once I get my New Year's party and done. I might.
Right. Right. That's right.
Mhm.
Shoot, yeah, I'm gonna check out the show, and I'm gonna definitely be promoting. Make people let people watch the show, let them know what that it's there. So we got to support, especially Black and Brown people nowadays. It's
Absolutely.
You said something earlier, and it was interesting. I was listening to gee whiz, oh my god, I can't remember his name right now. It'll pop in my head a second, but the guy was interviewing Saida Garrett, the singer, and
Hmm.
asking her. She wrote Man in the Mirror with Michael,
Hmm.
and she's done a lot of working with Madonna and lots and lots of people, and her career is huge, but she's not famous. You know what I mean? Like, she's not in
Yeah.
front. And she said that she wanted to be like Janet, she wanted to be Madonna, but for some reason it didn't work out that way. So she said, like the mouse, there's a mouse that's looking for the piece of cheese, it's not there. It's like, I decided to go look for some other cheese. And she decided to write, and now her writing is which she's more successful at right now. And
Yeah.
she's
She's
getting
got Grammys and she's got
all of that from
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure she's got an abundance of money.
Oh,
And so
one of the was, oh God, Questlove. That's what it was.
yeah,
Questlove was the interviewer, and he said something to her. He was like he said to her, "Well, you're like a middle class, like a working actress. You're like," she said, "No, like I got money." She's like,
yeah,
because she's like, I'm a writer. That money comes in when you're writing especially for like ASCAP and all that stuff. Like, the money is coming in
yeah,
when somebody does your song and stuff like that. But she said she's really happy with her career. She's very successful at what she's doing. She's not well known, but in the business, she's well known. And that's one thing.
yeah,
That's one thing I'm striving for now. I have not, like I said, no speaking parts yet, but I am really well known in the business. A lot of people, like LeVar Burton, asked for me to stand in for him, and I'm like, damn, LeVar. And he goes, "How's your back, Briscoe?" Things like that. I'm like, yo, Yvette Nicole Brown, she takes me under her wing a little bit. She gives me some advice, not in public, but privately.
yeah,
Sherry, I'm name dropping, but Sherry Shepherd's another one. She's like, Briscoe, blah, blah. I mean, it's just because you have to let yourself be known in this business and let yourself like be professional, like not cancel on your guests a million times like I did. I had all these
nah.
bitches. I could not believe it the other day on Sunday. I woke up and had no electricity.
Where you live? Where area?
I live in Mid City right now. I live between Jefferson and Exposition. A
Okay.
friend of mine owns the house, and he's a
Yeah.
contractor, so he's always doing some kind of work on the house. And I live in the apartment behind the house, and we have apartment upstairs, a 2-bedroom apartment. I'm like pointing here, 2-bedroom apartment. Me and one of my closest friends, she invited me to live here. She lives upstairs with me, and then down here in the studio, there's a studio that I'm standing in right now, and then there's a recording studio next door in the same spot, and then there's another room inside. So one of my other roommates live in there. So there's 4 people in the main house and 2 upstairs, and we're all in the arts. So it's really good. One of the guy that lives down here, they're graphic artists. So he's gonna build me a big sign, Real Talk with Briscoe Diggs. I can hang it up here. So
nice.
yeah, I am like lucky, Carl. I'm not going nowhere until until the time comes. But I lucked out. I really did.
Yeah.
I'm like Holly always say, #blessed.
Yeah.
I was like, shut up. No. But yeah. So yeah, the upcoming. I'm like talking your ear off. I had some Briscoe Diggs coffee, y'all know.
Yeah.
So what do you have? Do you have anything coming up that you can talk about besides your new show? Say your new show again. I know the name, but say it one more time.
It's called Grand Crew.
Grand Crew, y'all.
It is on NBC on Tuesday night.
NBC Tuesday nights, and on Hulu right now, and also on Peacock.
Yeah, on Hulu and Peacock. Yeah, you can catch it both of those places too.
Yeah.
When I ain't working on nothing else right now. That's
good. No, that's enough. No, that's.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be some more stuff popping up. I got a little, I'm on a cartoon called Star Trek Lower Decks.
Oh, you want? I didn't even know. I love that.
Yeah. That's on Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah, Paramount Plus. Yes, that's so you're in the Star Trek. You're part of the Star Trek universe.
Yeah.
You're the second one I've interviewed. My friend Rico Anderson, he's also in the Star Trek universe. He's a renegade, I think. He plays an alien, so you never know it's him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I interviewed him when the pandemic first started, and he's a good buddy of mine. You know what's so interesting? I did a short film a few years ago, and I was the lead in the short film. I played this homeless guy who was like a spy or some shit. And my co-stars was Rico Anderson, who's in the Star Trek universe, and Ross Marquand, who is on The Walking Dead. He's played, I forgot the first gay character, and he has one arm. So it was
I didn't watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I stopped. Sorry, Ross. I stopped watching it after a certain point when I was like, no, I had to stop watching because something happened. I was like, no, y'all didn't do that to me. But that was when Ross's character got big. His character became really huge in the show. But it's like you never know. The reason why I brought that up is that you never know who you're working with in this business. You never know who's that background actor might be a writer or producer that's not doing anything yet, but they have something in the works in their mind. And the next thing you know, wow, the fortunes have switched, and this guy's producing something, and your work. So I never kind of put down people that are in that business. There's some people that do background for the rest of their lives, and that's what they want to do. If I get stuck doing background for the rest of my life, it could be worse. I mean, I could have a worse job. I don't want to be doing that, Jesus, but just in case, it could be worse. And I get to, like I said, I've got to work with people like you, meet and see the projections, the rise of your career, and it's like it's a good thing to see. It really is. And also, you mentioned Amber Riley. One of the first times she ever spoke to me on set, I have to say, because she's a sweetheart. It was when I can't remember his name right now. I keep my memories going, but it was the new non-binary character came on. He was like the male version of her. I forgot his name. He's on what's his name?
I think that's after I left.
Yeah, you might have left. He's on you see him on a lot of shows now. He's on that Zoe's Playlist. Anyway, he came on as the male version of her, and he came with the fur coat on one day. I think you might have been gone by now. He came with the fur coat, and I was like, wow. And she's like, look at you. You look like you're at home with this, because it was like he was very like flamboyant, and I was like really surprised that they brought his character on here being black. I was like, yo, this is really before because it was non-binary before all this, all this stuff is happening. But Amber was like, we were both admiring. I can't remember his name. He's really doing well now. That sucks. But anyway, back to Carl Tart. And by the way, your name is amazing, Carl Tart. Like you're not gonna forget that shit.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the holidays? What are your plans for the holidays?
I'm going to hang out with my mom on Christmas Day.
Nice.
And then I'm going to Atlanta for New Year's. I got some friends down there.
That's wonderful.
If everybody can stay healthy, this Omicron is running through people.
Yeah. Just wrap yourself up in all that stuff when you travel. I have family in Atlanta. My uncle just bought a home, so I think that I'm gonna go down and maybe in the summertime and I've never been, so I want to go and just check it all out and see how it is and find Donald Glover and say, "What's up, Donald?" No, just kidding.
Definitely go in the summertime. It's cold out there right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna pack this jacket.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? It's craziness. I remember a few years ago, I took my cat with me to go to East Coast. Don't travel with a cat, okay? That's all I got to say. It was a mess. But Carl, I really appreciate you doing this again. I really appreciate you being here.
No problem.
I appreciate your life. You are just going to do so well. I'm telling you, I see big things coming for you. I just can't wait to be there screaming at the screen when you be nominated for your first Emmy. It's going to happen. Or God, now this, I don't know if you want this. I'm going to just throw it out there. Your own comedy special. I can see that.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're going to talk that out. We're going to talk that NBC is going to, push you over to like Netflix and say, hey, Netflix, check this man out. I just feel something happening. But happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that other craziness. And I'll definitely see you after the holiday. I have some things that are happening I don't want to talk about yet, but I got some things coming up for myself. But before I leave, y'all need to check out Carl's turn on Miracle Workers Oregon Trail, season 3. It's the funniest shit I've ever seen. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what you were doing. So I saw you on set, but I didn't see your work until I saw it on screen. And it's funny as hell. So yeah, It was so good to
thank
see
you,
you
man.
on set. That was how we got to this interview. I saw Carl on set, and I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like my brother Carl. And it was, yeah. That was one of the best experiences I've had. It was crazy. It was cold, rainy, hot, all that stuff, COVID. But it was one of my
before the vaccine.
Before the vaccine, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I love working. I'm gonna name drop Daniel Radcliffe, Steve Buscemi, and the rest of the cast and crew. They were all nice. I mean, I didn't have no drama except for my car broke down, and guess what? They paid me for that day anyway. You know, it was amazing. And so I digress. This interview is about you, not me. So, but yeah, Carl, thank you so much again.
I appreciate you, Briscoe.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, and thank you for being how do you say it? A righteous dude in Hollywood. You can sound like Ferris Bueller. Then we should do a black version. They're doing all these remakes.
I know, a black version of Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller, right? Well, Carl,
I'm too old to play high school now.
What'd you say?
I'm too old to play high school now. I can play the teacher.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, by the way, check this out. Before we left for Glee, one of the background actors got a t-shirt, their shirts made.
Oh, look at that.
They had to get Ryan Murphy's approval. But we got shirts made and we got t-shirts, and this is the maybe like season 5. We were all done. I wasn't really there a lot. I was like back and forth. And I got me a shirt with my name. I'm at the top, and all the background kids wrote their little name on it. So it was just kind of interesting how Ryan let us do it.
That's cool. That's very
so
nice.
Yeah, we had a little time on Glee, and now it's time for us to graduate. Well, you already graduated. I don't know. I'm still teaching in that school. But yeah, thank you so much, Carl. You have a great holiday, and I will see you after the new year.
All right.
Right. Thanks, my audience out there, if y'all have a dream in your heart and a plan, it's never too late. Can you dig it? All right, y'all. Y'all be good. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Get vaccinated, and stuff like that. All right. Peace out, brother. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.